This is getting started. I am in a mood. I'm not even gonna pretend I've been surly all day with good reason. Tonight's topics is I'm gonna be on point tonight because I am upset. I am tired, and I don't know about some of you, but I am watching our Senate Republicans make a mockery of the justice system, and I'm sick of it. I'm also watching people who claim that they're on my side put BLM in their bios on Twitter and then their names all cutesy with rainbow emojis. Hold water for white supremacists and then get mad when you call them out. So I am tired. I am beyond exhausted at this point. It has been a long 4 years. And when I said, hey, Silent Ray, what's up? When I let people know earlier on that I am feeling perpetual rage, I looked to see how people would respond. And of course, a lot of people who have been feeling the same way, whether you're marginalized for being black, a woman, LGBT, POC, non-black, or just somebody who straight white Christian males seem to view as their enemy, the last 4 years was a nightmare for us. So when we say we're still feeling rage, we're still feeling tired, it's not that we want to take from the hope and the beauty of having the Bidens who, I'm going to say that Valentine's Day thing started my morning off with a smile, but it wasn't enough to erase the fact that we cannot get rid of the stench of Donald Trump and these idiots who stormed our Capitol last month. And that people really think they can just let them get away with doing this. And that is why I wanted tonight's topic to be about accountabilities, apologies, and the American way. Because point blank, we have an issue with our country. There are two Americas, two distinct Americas. An America where you grow up hoping beyond hope that people do not categorize you by some weird arbitrary social and moral code that you will never adhere to because according to them, just by your looks, just by your color, just by who you love or how you identify, you are less than. Then you have this other America, the one that they keep trying to make the true America, which we can't allow happen, where you are born without pigment and you're allowed to get away with just about anything. Greed, corruption, murder. Your mom can buy you a gun, travel you across state lines to murder protesters, and people raise money for you. And they let you out on bail and then they can't find you. My child can't walk around in a hoodie with Skittles in his pocket. But Kyle Rittenhouse is just wandering around free and he's a murderer. I am tired of the two Americas. And this day has been particularly great on the fuckery. And yes, the judge won't hold him accountable, Silent. And it's mind-boggling. He committed a crime. There was nothing to say, oh, he was unarmed, oh, it was a mistake. He literally walked up to the cops after doing what he did. This is Dylan Roof times 1,000. Because they gave the kid water. They treated him like he was a hero for doing what he did. Those men that he murdered were protesters. They weren't violent. They wasn't causing any trouble. They were asking for our lives to matter. And they paid with their lives for standing up for what's right. So some little racist shitbag can get off on $2 million bail and do whatever the heck he wants. And he is just a drop in the bucket of the fuckery. You have this lady who was at the Capitol riots, because those were actual riots. They were not protests. Don't let what Trump's ridiculously racist lawyers, and I'm going to get to them soon, fool you. These were a bunch of racists who could not stand that their fascist leader, go and get your snack, baby. You know that I do this every Friday now, right? You know. Sorry about that, y'all. Kiddo is a teen, and you know it's gonna happen. This is live. But yeah, they call themselves a pro-life party, but they don't think our lives matter, and they're pretty clear on that. They're for blue lives, as long as those blue lives are snuffing out black lives, and it's very freaking. It's frustrating. Hey, dear, and yeah, James does not care if mommy's recording or live. He wants the snacks when he wants a snack. So, but it's just so aggravating at this point. Just the level of apologetic stuff, the level of people covering and holding water, and then so-called allies trying to call me out saying that I tweet what I tweet for life. So I'm starting off fired up because let me tell you something. Before I even got any followers, I put what I want out there on social media. I've never filtered myself. I have never told myself that I shouldn't tweet something that I feel or believe in wholeheartedly. So if I say somebody like Chris Hayes carries water for white supremacists, because as you can see in this Twitter post of his, he likened firing a bigot who posted anti-Semitic and anti-trans comments constantly on her social media and got her stupid ass fired as being blacklisted. And as I explained in an earlier blog, when you want to pull something from history and use it as a parallel to something happening today, you need to make damn sure that you're not creating a false equivalence. And what Chris Hayes and what I don't want to get that reporter's name mixed up, but let me enhance this because his dumb ass is clear as day. No, not the Fetterman thing. I'm going to talk about him in just a minute here too, because there's so much to go on. But I want to get this idiot's name that Chris Hayes was defending for the New York Magazine without giving them the clicks and views, if I can. And no, they took his name off there because he really went there. Now, I don't know if some of you know the history, and maybe you missed my earlier blog on that, but the blacklist from the 1940s and 50s was Hollywood's way of cultivating a scare of communists. Not saying that communists are our friends or I'm a fan of communism, period. I know the little cutesy progressive wannabe leftists like to call themselves communists without really understanding what that's all about. But not that long ago in our country, if they accused you of being a communist sympathizer, it didn't matter if you really were. You literally lost your your livelihood. You lost your job, and 10 notable playwrights, writers, actors, and directors were put in jail for a witch hunt, a real witch hunt, not that fake witch hunt that Donald Trump tried to put in. They went after notable actors and actresses, accusing them of being communists. They went after people they wanted to label undesirable with their Red Scare. That is a true witch hunt. That is a true blacklist. And that is what was wrong in 1950. Because every single person they accused of that didn't have any evidence of such ties. They were completely vilified in the press. They lost their livelihoods through no fault of their own. Gina, the idiot who lost her place in The Mandalorian, literally has a timeline full of slurs, anti-Semitic rants, and supports all the fuckery that happened last month. So, excuse me, I think that Disney, especially after they fired that nutbag Roseanne, has given a track record that they don't support stuff like this. And I'm so tired of people likening a person getting fired through their own actions and feeling the consequences of said actions on the same level as being wrongfully punished. These are the same people who will shake your head in agreement with Trump's lawyers likening that horrific insurrection last month to black, white, and protesters of all ethnicities coming together peacefully asking for you to stop legally lynching us. It is not the same. And for them to try to open up their arguments with that false equivalency is why we need true accountability. I am a mom. I raised my son to own up to his actions, to face the fact that when he does something wrong, he will find trouble for it. Because you get punished when you do something wrong. And the punishment is never too harsh, but he needs to learn from what he does wrong. We have allowed a certain demographic in our country to continuously do wrong, to continuously fail up, to continuously keep acting like spoiled brats and not being held accountable. To the point where they can ask to go to Aruba after committing treason. This has to stop. And then you have men like Chris Hayes, who has a platform with millions of people who watch, who sympathize with a freaking anti-Semitic whack job who lost her job for every action of her own. Her firing was her fault. It had nothing to do with blacklist. And how dare you take the platform you have to lament the plight of conservatives who are always, I am so sick of our media acting like conservatives are the victims. I'm so sick of our media acting like conservatives don't have a voice. For all my life, I've had their crap shoved down my throat. From their moral majority, Reaganomics, calling black women welfare queens, all the while doing us dirty with arms deals, fucking over our economy so that his wealthy friends could do well while they put bodies in mass graves because they declare AIDS a moral failure instead of a national-wide pandemic and a crisis. This is what happens when you push an agenda that plays country club politics and shuns people they deem less than. These people want to freaking harken us back to Jim Crow so badly it hurts them. It literally hurts them that this world is determined to progress with or without them. And instead of accepting that we need to grow and work together as human beings, they continuously lash out, act out, and murder people when they don't get their way. They literally threaten to kidnap our governor, rape, and murder her. These are not normal people. And the reason they got this way is because they're never held accountable for their actions. They're treated like martyrs when they commit crimes. They get their full due process. We can't stand in our yards with wallets. We can't be in our cars legally armed. Philando Castile was a registered gun owner. He told the cops that he had a gun and he still paid for it with his life. There is no right way to engage somebody who is already ready to kill us for the color of our skin. And that is the reality of America for so many of us. And we have to sit there and watch the farce today. As Trump's lawyers called us the Negro voting. Because they want to go back to the days where there were whites only and blacks only. They want to go back to the days where we couldn't look them in the eye without saying, yes, sir, no, ma'am. That is what they want from us, and we cannot allow this anymore. It is the year 2021. I shouldn't have to make a freaking full show on telling white people that if you want to act like a racist bigot, if you want to treat people like they're less than human because they don't identify the same way as you, they don't love the same way as you, they don't look or pray the same way as you, that you don't deserve the job that you think you work so hard for, it is not a blacklist, it is a consequence. We need to hold people accountable. There is no excuse from it. And I don't care if they have a D by their name or R by their name or an I by their name. If you are a piece of crap, you will feel the consequences of your actions. And what makes me so upset today is how many people who swear on their life that they are on our side, yet will hold water for these people. And hey, Beanie, hello, and she quit cave dweller. Hey, everybody, I am so fired up. This guy really pissed me off earlier because the whole Crusades Day was bad enough, but it was followed by 2 days of the John Fetterman thing. And if you guys don't know who John Fetterman is, he is a Democrat, allegedly, that's running for Pennsylvania senator, and he needs to be stopped. If you are in Pennsylvania right now and you feel like you can't run because you're not well known, you've never really branched out in politics, but you do have a background of service, you need to start looking at places like Onward Together and other grassroots organizations. We need an actual Democrat that did not chase down an unarmed citizen with a shotgun and then makes excuses for it. Now, these articles here want to paint his so-called plight cutesy. He revisits it. He never apologized. To this moment, he still has not officially apologized. And that I'm sorry that people feel a certain way. That's not an apology. He chased down a young man who was jogging in the neighborhood with a shotgun on just the suspicion that there might be something bad going on. This was a few months after Trayvon Martin was gunned down by the wannabe vigilante George Zimmerman. So people who would make excuses that, oh, it was 2013, it was a different time. There was no different time. Do you not understand that just between the years of 2008 to 2016, we had several cases of almost legalized to legalized lynching between cops that got off for blatantly killing our kids to George Zimmerman, who got off for starting a fight with a kid who defended himself and murdering him. So what John Fetterman did was unacceptable. And now he wants to be the voice of Pennsylvania. It is bad enough he was a mayor of a black town. 80% black at that. And in his mind, a black man jogging, covered up for the winter, was somebody he needed to chase down with a shotgun. And everybody who wants to talk about, oh, his life fell threatened, why didn't he call the police until after he detained the young man with the shotgun pointed at him? He wasn't in fear for his life. He was exercising his privilege in this country to be a white man with a gun to terrorize whoever the hell he wanted because he needed that feeling of authority. And we don't need any more toxic meatheads like John Fetterman in our Congress. I am so sick and tired of having to say stuff like this. And I'm sick and tired of having to fight with allies who don't understand that it is not acceptable, whether it was in 2013 or 2021, for any unarmed citizen to feel unsafe in their own neighborhood, exercising, walking, just minding their own business without having some ridiculously overly testosterone-filled male approach us with a gun. Or some vapid, loud Karen coming and asking us what we are doing in our own neighborhood. Yous are not the gatekeepers to our country. And I know that bothers some of you. I know it rattles you because you want to be, but you're not. And we need to stop electing people like this. And we need to stop covering for people like this. There is no reason to cover for Gina Carano. She's not a part of a Hollywood blacklist. She's an anti-Semitic bigot. There is no reason to uplift John Fetterman. There are plenty of people in Pennsylvania who could do that job to be your voice way better than a bigot with a shotgun. We have to stop letting these people get away with these microaggressions. I'm going to tell you something. When I used to work in a corporate setting, I always tried to be as invisible as possible. I kept my head down. I did my work. I laughed at the stupid ass sexist and racist jokes. I did everything I could just to be viewed as the good one, and it ate at me. And I really think that, along with other traumas, helped catalyst the mental illness that I struggle with. Because you constantly take in so much microaggressions. And to have somebody chase you down when you are just trying to get your fitness on with a gun because your skin is black is unacceptable. Our trauma is unacceptable. And if you find yourself able to make excuses for people like Gina Carano or John Fetterman or Donald Trump, take that fucking BLM out of your bio, because you don't deserve to say Black Lives Matter, because our lives do not matter to you. Our voices do not matter to you. And I am tired of being pandered to and patted on my head while you watch us die. It is not right. And I am tired. And I know I am not the only one who is tired of this constant cycle of gaslighting. It's abusive at this point. It is so unfair to us for you to tell us what is an acceptable amount of bigotry. And when I say us, I don't just mean black people. Gina Carano purposely said anti-Semitic things against Jewish people. How do you think they feel right now? Last month, at that capitalist attack, there were people wearing Camp Auschwitz shirts. Pro-Holocaust folks, people. It is infuriating that anybody finds a level of bigotry acceptable. This is why accountability is so important. But we get so much pushback whenever there's accountability. Think about Me Too. Think about how many men, instead of saying, you know what, I'm not a rapist, I don't sexually harass women, let me stand in solidarity. How many of them instead lamented a guy who was a serial rapist going to jail, or a serial pedophile like R. Kelly, or a serial rapist like Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby? They constantly hold water for these bad men, but tell us, oh, not all of us. Enough of you. And if you're not doing your part to stand up to the men who are garbage, and instead telling women maybe we shouldn't speak up about it, you're a part of the problem. Accountability is not bad if you're not doing bad things. I have never once worried about being held accountable for any action I did not do. But these men who sit there labeling their consequences as cancel culture and getting away with it because our media thinks it's cutesy to run that term, it's ridiculous. You're not being canceled because you're an innocent party. You're being canceled because you're abusive. Or you're being canceled because you're a bigot. Or you're a rapist. You're a misogynist. You're an anti-lesbian, gay, transgender person. You're a TERF. You are a horrible person, and you do not deserve patronage. And I don't care if you can play ball. I don't care if you can sing. I don't care if you're the greatest freaking actor or actress on earth. The moment you open up your mouth and use your platform to be a piece of garbage that dehumanizes people, you do not deserve a successful career. Because for every Gina Carano's out there are plenty of struggling young men and women of different backgrounds who never get their foot in the door. Because Hollywood loves to play like they do diversity, but we still don't see it. And I am trying my best to do my part to help with that. I write characters. I have made a novel that I can hopefully put out there that is diverse, but it is not enough, because no matter what I personally do, I am fighting against a society that continuously tells people if you are not straight, white, and Christian, you are less than. And until we start holding the people who want to use their straight white Christianity as a cudgel instead of as a woman brace like their religion teaches, Until we hold those who use religion as a way to promote bigotry and shunning and storming a capitol with murderous intent accountable for their actions. Until a mother cannot take her 17-year-old son with a gun across state lines to let him murder people. Until we stop raising kids to try to fight for a race war and go shoot up a church with 9 people murdering them. Until white people stop having the privilege that so many of them try to deny having, but don't understand that it's not about money. It's about knowing that you can walk around in your neighborhood and not have somebody look at you like, do you belong here? That a cop rolling up on you does not make you completely paranoid that you're going to lose your life on that day. That your kid can do normal, average, everyday things out in their yard without having to worry about somebody calling the cops on them just for existing. The privilege of walking in the store and never being followed or profiled. Never having a cashier denied, well, not even denied. The story was, I went to buy earrings at one department store in South Carolina, so should be no shock there. And the lady literally treated me like I couldn't afford it until I pulled out the credit card that I had at the time. She changed the tune. I asked for another cashier because I was not going to be disrespected. But that is how our lives are. Constant microaggressions, constant little acts of bigotry that build up like a bucket. And this morning my bucket overflowed because I am tired of watching Black people and other marginalized people in this country pay a body tax for the bigotry that they just let you get away with it. You just don't get held accountable for anything. And then when you apologize even, it's not even a real apology. It's a I'm sorry you feel that way. No reflection. No thinking inward that I caused somebody trauma. I caused somebody harm with my actions, my thoughts, my words. I will do better. Because you know the society will not hold you to task for it. And this is on us too. We have to keep pushing. I know it's tired. I'm exhausted repeating myself. I spent this whole week saying that we need to hold these people accountable. I want to break from it, but I know I can't. Because until this country gets it together and stops letting these people get away with the stuff they get away with, I can't stop saying it. Because their bigotry is literally snuffing the life out of this country. We let them for 4 years run rampant, giving tax breaks to their friends, declaring BLM a terrorist group while letting terrorists infiltrate our military, continue to operate in our police forces. It is beyond time we hold people accountable. And when somebody makes an apology that isn't really an apology, we respond to them by, okay, then you cannot have a career in politics the way you want. John Fetterman isn't the first white man to be mayor of an all-black town and mess up. Pete Buttigieg did the same thing when he was his small-town mayor. But you know what the difference is between the mayor of South Bend and John Fetterman? Pete Buttigieg admitted he messed up. On a national debate stage, he admitted he dropped the ball. And he wholeheartedly apologized. Now, I know some of us didn't believe it back then. I was one of them. I was angry because there were sound bites of Buttigieg dismissing people's legitimate upset. He could have really tanked his career with his attitude. But he used it as a teaching moment, and now he is in the Biden-Harris administration as the Secretary of Transportation because he realized he was not ready for prime time and he has to learn. He is doing what he can to redeem himself. John Fetterman isn't going to be that kind of guy, and you can't convince me of it. Why? Because we see how the media is already giving him an out to act like he was the victim when he was the one who chased somebody down with a shotgun. It's exhausting. And yes, Beanie, yeah, I remember that too. When he said, I am not asking for your vote, I thought that was it for him. I really thought that Pete Buttigieg was done because I felt it was just so rude and disrespectful. And that was not even 2 years ago. And then, as he humbled himself and really started to understand that you were asking to be president, you barely ran a college town. You need to learn. He didn't keep on with his hubris. He didn't go on the news media acting like he was the victim of the debates. He learned, and he's continuing to grow. That is the difference between him and John Fetterman. And this is why I tell people, don't tell me you're my ally if you don't see stuff like this. Because it's clear as day, people who really mean what they say and people who just want power and placement. John Fetterman, if you allow him to be, will abuse his power. He's already done it as mayor, and he has shown he has learned nothing from it. I am tired of having to stress that people like that are dangerous, not just to people like me, but to anybody who's considered marginalized. We have to hold people accountable for their actions. He's not a victim. Gina's not a victim. Trump is not a victim. None of the Capitol insurrectionists are victims. No one on Fox News are victims. These people are feeling the consequences of 4 years of drumming up fear, drumming up racism, telling people that anybody that doesn't look, think, act, or pray like you is the enemy. And then turning around and going, oh, you can't fire us for we're just staying. We have the right to say this. Yeah, our Constitution allows people to say whatever the heck they want. It doesn't stop your employer from saying, you know what? We don't like what you're saying. You can hit the bricks. It doesn't stop people from saying, we will not support a show with this kind of actor. We will not watch a movie with this kind of director. We will not support bigotry in any way, shape, or form. And if your first instinct when somebody like John Fetterman is called out, or somebody like Gina is called out, is to defend them as some kind of victim of a blacklist or a witch hunt, you are holding water and caping for white supremacy, whether you think so or not. And if you can do that and you're a white person, you have to understand that you are not helping us get the progress that you claim you want. Like I said, it's hard for me right now because I have people constantly asking me to teach them, but you don't want to listen. And I can't teach people who don't want to hear me in the first place. You just want a pat on the head and then hear you're a good ally. But I keep telling you, I don't have a gold star, I don't have a ribbon or a cookie for your ass. If you are not constantly reading yourself, if you are not constantly studying what's going on in our society, if you are not constantly calling out the fuckery, and not just racism, misogyny, anything anti-LGBT, any kind of religious intolerance, any kind of intolerance towards people who feel comfortable not having religion. We are human beings. We are not all meant to act and think the same. And if that grinds your gears so badly that you can't stand it, then you are not an ally to me. Because I want equality. I want people to feel safe being who they are. And when people come at me and like, well, what about racists? That's a character flaw. Nobody is born a racist. That is a taught persona from people who are broken and mad because they're not rich or mad because they have a weird aesthetic. And I don't care about their decision to hate people. They think nobody's stopping them from being hateful. They just won't be invited to anything we all do when we make this world better. We don't have to make room for people who want to shun others. But we have to help them accountable when the shit they do is detrimental to people's lives. And I am just tired of having to say this over and over again. I feel like we're going to constantly have to say this over and over again. They can be hateful in their own little collective if they want. I hear Siberia has lots of room. Let them go there. But the rest of us, we just want to move on towards progress. There are so many cool things going on right now. TV shows that I started watching again because I wake up in the morning, I'm not constantly under duress because we have adults in our White House. And it's only been a month, but they're actually getting work done. And they're doing cutesy things because there are two people who love each other in the White House currently. And it's so nice. And I want to be happy. And I want to talk about geeky things. I've been watching WandaVision, and I'm not going to do any spoilers on this show because I think that's rude, and I know there are people who haven't caught up. But there's just so many things I would love to get back to, but I can't because we have an impeachment trial going on, and there are people in this country that think he's being railroaded when he's on tape inciting these people to commit treason. It really is. Yeah, Melania can just go, she can go fuck herself. I am so over that Slovakian witch, and I know she's not Slovakian. It is a joke. I've had so many people go, oh, she's not Slovakian. It is a joke. It's a play on the WandaVision thing. All I know is that plastic surgery Barbie can be as upset as she wants. She is a void of human emotion type person, and I do not have any care for her feelings. She and her husband could ride off over the cliff into a volcano for all I care. And the reason she's jealous is simple. Jill Biden is accomplished. She's an actual PhD. She loves her husband. She loves this country. And she will do, just like Michelle Obama, for the American people. And not just for herself. And I'm hoping one of the things she eventually does is redo Jackie Kennedy's garden that freaking Transylvania she-witch tore up. Oh, that pisses me off. Exactly, Beanie. She is beloved. And when somebody who's never really loved anything in her life but money sees somebody who's genuinely empathetic getting loved, of course they're going to act hateful and jealous. But hopefully Melania and Jared and Ivanka and Eric and Don Jr. and their ugly ass pappy all feel accountability for their actions pretty soon. Because they robbed the American people of 4 years of stability, security. 450,000 of us are dead because of this family. They are a crime family. The only thing Donald Trump has been successful in has been destroying so many American lives. He will go down in history as the worst American president. And I am sick and tired of people trying to defend the undefendable. He is a horrible person. And his family is full of horrible people. And I'm not saying all of them. That is obviously a gross generalization to say all of them. He still has some minors in the family. I heard Mary Trump might be cool. I don't know. I don't fuck with anybody with the last name Trump no more. Because I can't trust that family. She's making bank off of being a tell-all anyway. If she was doing it just to do it, be different. That family seems to gravitate to wherever the money is, so I don't fuck with any of them. Just like I tell people about the Lincoln Project. These are the people that helped put Trump in power in the first place. Their antics after the Reagan administration helped us get Bush, helped put that cycle of every time we get a Democrat to fix things, we follow up with a Republican and fuck us over. So excuse me if I don't amplify people like that. We have to hold these people accountable and stop making them heroes just because they say something we like. I tell people all the time, you follow me on social media because you might like one thing that I have to say, but you turn right around the moment you feel targeted and you want to fight with me and argue with me, and I don't got time for it. I don't care if every single one of you unfollow me at some point because I am going to be who I am. If you follow me for who I am, and then you get mad at me for who I am, whose fault is that? I haven't changed. It's just so freaking exactly. Everybody loves being called. They love it when I drag somebody until they feel it. And I don't even have to be directly dragging them. They just feel guilty because it's about their demographic. And like I said, and I meant this earlier, if you are a white man and you are following me and you are fragile, if what I say hurts your feelings, you're talking too much about sexism and misogyny and racism, my feelings are hurt, unfollow. There is nobody holding a gun to your head to follow me. I promise you, I will not track you down. I probably won't even remember who you are. Go. I do not want to continue to hurt your fragile feelings. You are not ready to be friends with a black woman, and I am not ready to be friends with you. I do not want to be your mommy. I am tired of having to say this because almost every other day I am getting into it with one you. And I am tired of it. You can't tell me you're my ally, but the moment I start talking about stuff that negatively impacts me and my community, telling me that it's enough, that you've hit your limit, that you don't want to hear it, la la la, it's a witch hunt. It's not. It is called pointing out a problem so that we can address and fix that problem. Yeah, nobody's holding a gun to you. You cut that out. And right now, you're about the only white guy that I'll tolerate as it is. So, but that's what I mean. The whole cancel culture thing is bothering me because I see it thrown around so much right now by people who just don't want to feel the consequences of their actions. And like I said, you are free to say stupid things online. You are not free from your bosses firing you for it. You're free to be as harmful and hateful and bigoted as your twisted heart contends. But when you find yourself not able to get a job, alone, people are embarrassed to know you, people unfriend you, your family doesn't want you at the cookout or Thanksgiving, that is on you. That is not, oh, society's just canceling me. It's cancel culture. Y'all always want to make cutesy phrases for the stuff that you do. And we as a society have to stop allowing that. It is just so frustrating. I'm telling you, Beads, it is just so frustrating to have people reduce stuff to these little cutesy things to like take our minds off the fact that these people are horrible people. It's like a deflection tactic. And they get away with it a lot because our media runs with it. They run these articles saying, oh, this is the new Hollywood blacklist against conservatives. There are plenty of conservative actors that continue to act. I cannot personally stand Chris Pratt on a personal level. He just irks me in his face. He is a very conservative person. He does charity work and helps people despite it, but he has gone on the record as a conservative Christian. He hasn't gone on the record as a bigot. So why isn't he losing his job if there's a Hollywood blacklist against conservatives? Why? Because it's bullshit. There's no blacklist against conservatives. There are a bunch of bigots who decided to get on social media because tweets are forever, whether you try to delete them or not. And their employer said bye. And I don't understand why people feel the need to defend or liken them to actual injustice, but it's just like what's going on with the impeachment trial. People who are really out there asking for our lives to matter, we were reduced today by Trump's lawyers. Our collective voices asking to stop the illegalized lynch was put in the same vein of people who just couldn't accept election results. And almost, if not for the quick thinking of Eugene Goodman, could have completely fucked us over. They were so close to not only getting their hands on the election results, but there was a news article out that said that the man that was with Mike Pence had the nuclear football. These people are already showed they weren't right in the head, wearing their pro-Holocaust shirts, dressed up with horn helmets, calling themselves shamans, which if somebody practiced shamanism, really pissed me off. These people weren't wrapped too tight. Could you imagine how they got their hands on a nuclear football? And now that little whiny motherfucker sitting in jail talking about, I have a specialized diet. This is why we have to have accountability. There shouldn't be no leeway or fancy dining courses for somebody who committed treason. We get bullets in our back if a cop thinks we sneezed at them funny. If this man gets raw, organic, vegan food because his mommy said so, are you kidding me? This is why I speak up. This is why I do this cast. This is why I am the way I am on social media. Because I am just so sick of this constant fuckery masquerading as the status quo. It doesn't have to be exactly a grown-ass man's mom. Now, I'm going to say this. As a mom, I like to pretend that when my son's grown, I'm not going to step up in his life. I know better than that. I'm a black mom raised by Iowan women. I know that no matter how old he gets, as long as there's breath in my body, I'm going to have my baby's back. But if my baby was stupid enough to go on the Capitol riot and act like a freaking fool and smear his feces, yeah, I'm going to knock him out. And he can eat whatever jail food they offer or get skinny. I don't care. Our sons are taught from the get to take responsibility for their actions. And even then, we can't protect them from being legalized lynched. These cats can openly videotape themselves committing crimes and tell people, I got a specialized diet. You have to treat me fairer. I don't want to be in prison. Here's $2 million raised by a GoFundMe, even though I murdered 2 people. I still can't wrap my mind around Kyle Rittenhouse because it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense that murderer is walking around free. Just like it never makes sense to me when a murdering cop gets to walk around free. Like George Floyd's murderer when they let him be out on bail and go to Florida after he murdered a man on tape. Just like the cop who shot Tamir Rice in the back who kept applying for jobs afterwards. Just like the man who shot Iona Stanley Jones and got away with it, even though he lied on the stand and committed perjury. Didn't face any consequences for that. It has to stop. My head hurts, my heart hurts, and my soul hurts at this point. And I am tired. And there's not enough telling me that you know, and then going in the same vein and going, well, this person has a D by their name, they're a Democrat, who cares what they did in their past? I care. Because if they're racially insensitive 7 years ago and have not apologized for it, they're still racially insensitive. If they say homophobic things 10 years ago and haven't made amends and haven't worked with the community, they're still homophobic. If they are a bigot, they are not going to help us to have a better country. And I'm tired of having to say this is basic, y'all. I'm not spitting any facts that aren't basic. So I don't understand why I have to keep repeating myself to people who tell me they're my allies. If you are my ally, stop making me repeat myself and start speaking up with me. Because it is exhausting to have to remind you that you do not have to defend people who mess up like this. It is not a personal attack on you when we tell people like John Fetterman that you've messed up. And sure, he might remind you of your uncle, your husband, your father, your brother. But that's a problem too, because you let your family who hold water for bigotry or practice bigotry off because you're afraid of them too. I get it. They're not stable people. They get loud. They get violent. They turn tears on you. It is not easy. But can you imagine what it's like for the people that they constantly make life uneasy for because they don't agree with our existence? Have some empathy for us and stop freaking white knighting for them. They don't need you to defend them. Society has given them an attaboy and attagirl and pat on the head for far too long. So while we're fighting to stop them from being what people consider the American way, we don't need you being their defenders. And that's what a lot of you have been doing. And I just want you to know that it is exhausting. And I would like you to stop. Or if you're not going to stop, don't call yourself an ally. Don't put Black Lives Matter in your profile, in your name, if you don't care about black voices when we express our pain. Don't tell me you're for defunding the police in one breath, but then saying a guy who literally called 6 cops and held a shotgun on an innocent black jogger, maybe we should give him another chance because you don't give a fuck about defending the police. You're just doing whatever you can do for clicks and clout. And you know what? You might as well just go make prank videos. You will, I guarantee you will have more success just being the dumbass on TikTok for the adulation and attention you want than to veer into very real social issues that affect my life and other marginalized Americans. We don't want or need your fake assery. We need real allies. And the work is not easy and it's constantly tiring. It takes a lot of painful introspection. And I'm going to be honest, a lot of you are still not ready for it. And the reason I say it is because even 10 years ago, I wasn't ready for it. I tell people all the time, I was raised in the church. I was taught to be the good Negro. And you have to shed that. And you have to shed the laughing at other people's pain that used to be treated like it was a-okay. The turning the blind eye to the misogyny and the sexism and people who were grown-ass men preying on young girls and young boys. Some of the stuff that I remember seeing growing up now that is so unacceptable, but we were taught that you just don't talk about it. So you got to understand that if you really want to be an ally, which means anti-bigotry in every form, anti-racist, anti-misogynist, anti-homophobic, and definitely not a TERF. And if those of you watching don't understand what TERF is, it's trans exclusionary radical feminist for some reason, which I like my friend relabeled them as FART, because they want to be feminists. Because if you're a feminist and you are not standing by all women, you're not for feminism. And trans women are women, and trans men are men. And if that hurts your feelings, if that bothers you because you don't understand it, get over it. I'm tired of having to tell people that it is not okay to just hashtag our pain, put an emoji acting like you're down with us, and then silencing us when we talk about what's affecting us. And we're going to call you out. So if you're doing this to be cool and clout chase and, act like you're down for the cause but really not, we're going to find out. And we're going to let you know. So don't waste our time. Don't follow us. Don't tweet out how we hate you. I don't even know you, young lady. And to say that you're a leftist and a communist when you don't even know what those things are, no. You're a trust fund brat whose parents spoiled you way too much. And now you've got this eat the rich mentality when bitch you are rich. And you talk about the poor struggle like we're some kind of fetish. I'm tired. And I'm not going to cater to people like this anymore. I am not going to amplify people like this anymore. I want them blocked out of my view because they waste time. And after 4 years of Trump, undoing all his damage and still getting on the work of repairing America is on my mind. Electing people that can get this done. Moving forward, whether these bigots want us to or not, is on my mind. Having a good life where my son can grow and when they give me grandchildren and they can grow and keep that line going, that is on my mind. Not constantly getting angry at these little attention-seeking bastards who put BLM in their profile, but let me make the case for Trump, the liberal case for Trump, like Live Action Millhouse does. It's tiring, you know? And I'm tired of being tired over them. I've got way too many things to be tired about. I am not going to keep wasting energy on these attention-seeking brats whose mommy and daddy are too busy in the Hamptons instead of giving them the love and discipline that they should have had all their lives. We need to hold ourselves accountable to the attention that we give these attention seekers. And it's not just the little Emily's and Daves out there that do it. We got our own little Brees and Candaces too that think their shit don't stink. And while I love to say we don't claim them, they're black. They're just lost. And I learned that you can't give these lost souls attention. Because like a pit and a void and an abyss, they will keep sucking in all your energy. They feed off of it like energy vampires. So stop retweeting them. Stop arguing with them. Don't give them the attention that they're craving. I'm not saying anything revolutionary. And I hate coming across like I'm policing grown folks. But so many of you get angry at the shit they say when none of the stuff they say matters. Both of their claim to fame is they hold water for people who fired them or didn't even give them a time of day. Black people aren't standing these people. So stop getting upset and just ignore them. I'm telling you, it'll make your life easier. They're going to keep tweeting to their followers until they get bored with their nonsense too. We have way too much to do. And I don't have enough mental energy to divide myself amongst this anymore, especially since I have to deal with people like Chris Hayes, who have a platform and want to tell us that anti-Semitic people are just being witch hunt and blacklisted. And we have the insurrectionists, some of them who might very well get away with what they did last month, who are going to be out in society making life harder for us. And that's who I want to keep my eye on. Not these little bratty leftists who are going to whine and make demands no matter what. We do not have to pay attention to them. Exactly. I hope so. I really hope that a few people at MSNBC has taken him to the side and telling him maybe tweet less and think more. Because that was just unacceptable this morning. And like I said, I started off the morning in such a good mood because that whole video with Jill and Joe out there with Champ and Major and seeing the hearts and just seeing how she wanted to bring some positivity despite everything that's still going on. COVID is still going on. We have people going into vulnerable areas knowing they don't deserve it and skipping the line versus vulnerable black and brown people right now who need that vaccine. We still have frontline retail workers, service industry workers not getting vaccinated. We have teachers being told they have to go back and they're dying at an alarming rate. We are still not containing all the fuckery of the last 4 years. So it was nice to wake up to a little sense of normalcy, only to have it shaken by people trying to gaslight us yet again for bigotry. And it has to stop. Accountability needs to be the new American way, y'all. It is unacceptable at this point to have anything else. And I will not stop saying it until we start holding people accountable for their actions. And not just for perceived actions like they do for a lot of us in this country. But I'm going to wrap it up. It is 8 o'clock. Thank you everybody who joined the chat. I really appreciate you guys. You just keep me going. I am really working hard this year. Hopefully we'll be full of a lot of creative stuff. Like I said, my book is being edited by a friend. She is going through some health problems, but she is on it. I am so grateful to her for all her help because trying to edit it myself took way longer than I had planned for it. but I am really looking forward to getting it released out there soon. If you follow me on here, I really appreciate that too. I'm also on YouTube under Kalari C, and of course I'm on Twitter under Tanisa Walker or Kalari Gamer Check. I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you all, and have a good night.